All right, IM1 classes. Today we're going over graphing functions again. This time we're going to do some word problems with the functions. So day 2, this is going to be much like our last lesson, just more of the same. I'm just going to add in some scenarios here. So let's get right to it. So these problems I'm doing in the lesson today are straight from your assignment in Edulastic. If you are in the Zoom session, you'll see we'll do these problems together. You'll work from my Edulastic as we're working through these. But let's go ahead and get started. The fastest recorded Hawaiian lava flow moved at an average speed of 6 miles per hour. The function y equals 6x describes the distance y the lava moved on average x hours. Use the domain x equals 0, 2, 4, 6 to graph the function. So it's important we are to use this domain. So these are going to be the x values. So just like the last lesson, I'm going to have a table of values. I'm going to make it 3 columns. In the first column, that's going to be our domain, the x values or the inputs, whatever you prefer to call them. So the x's are 0, 2, 4, 6. I'm going to organize this a little bit. So we input those values to the functions, and then we get our output of y, and we put our work for the function in here. So just 6x. So it's just 6. Just like last time, I'm going to write the function in each here and just I'll replace the x with a set of parentheses in each one. So 6 times x, 6 times x, 6 times x, 6 times x. In this first one, x is 0. 6 times 0 is 0. So an input of 0 has an output of 0. This next one, an input 2 into the function. X is 2. So 6 times 2 is 12. So an input of 2 has an output of 12. 6 times, put a 4 in here. So 6 times 4 is 24. So input of 4 has an output of 24. And then the last one, I'm going to input 6 for x. So 6 times 6 is 36. So an input of 36, or excuse me, an input of 6 has an output of 36. So these are the x, y values of the points I'm going to plot. So 0, 0. 0 on the x, 0 on the y. That's here at the origin. 2, 12. So go to 2 on the x, 12 on the y. Put a point right there. 4, 24. So 4 on the x, 24 on the y. It's right there. 6, 36. So 6 on the x, 36 on the y. Right there. So I'll plot those points. And then there is one more part to your assignment here. How many miles has the lava traveled after 4.5 hours? So this is going to be the input for this one. So y is equal to 6 times x. And in this case, x is 4.5. So 6 times 4.5 comes out to 27. So after 4.5 hours, the lava's moved 27 miles. All right. Moving on. We'll do one more question. So the temperature of a liquid that is increasing can be represented by the equation F of T is equal to 64 plus 4T, where T is time in hours. Use the domain T equals 0, 4, 8, 12. So this time we're not using just x and y, we're using different values. So we have function notation here. So f of t, that's like going to be the y, and t in this case is time in hours. That's going to be the input or the domain. So We have T in this column. We put in our domain. So the domain is 0, 4, 8, 12. 0, 4, 8, 12. Organize the table a little bit. And then this column is going to be f of t. So the function, again, it's f of t is equal to 64 plus 4t. So I'm going to do 64 plus 4 times t. And I'm going to rewrite that for each of the values just to get this part out of the way. 64 times plus 4 times t, 64 plus 4 times t, 64 plus 4 times t. And then the inputs are going to go into the parentheses. So the first input is 0, then 4, 8, 12. So now I can work this out. So 4 times 0 is 0. 64 plus 0 is 64. So I forgot to mention, make sure you're doing proper order of operations. I don't do 64 plus 4 first. I need to do 4 times 0. You need to multiply before you add. So multiply first. So 4 times 4 is 16. And then add 64 plus 16 is 80. So an input of 4 has an output of 80. 4 times 8, I have to do that first, that's 32. 64 plus 32 is 96. So an input of 8 has an output of 96. Last one, 4 times 12 is 48. 64 plus 48 is 112. So an input of 12 has an output of 112. All right, so now the t and the f of t, that's like our x and y, our input and output. On the table, the graph isn't labeled right here, but this is your t and this is your f of t for your domain, or so your domain is the horizontal, your range is the vertical. So 0, 64, so 0, 64. And then 480, so 4 in the domain, 80 in the range. 8, 96, so 8, 96. And then 12, 112, so 12, 112. And then the last part of it, what is the temperature after 7 hours? So this is going to be the input. So I'm actually going to write this using function notation. So f of 7 is going to be equal to 64 plus 4 times 7. So 4 times 7 is 28. So 64 plus 28 is 92. So after 7 hours, the temperature is 92 degrees. So that's it. Your assignment today is on Edulastic. Again, these are the first 2 problems from the assignment. So get started working on that assignment, finish it up, and we will see you guys next time.